huge.
It is a huge point. Of course, we wanted to go into the game trying to win the game, but we also understood as well still now the difficulties of winning because no, it was a must win for Nigeria. But again, it comes back to what we said a little bit earlier on. I said we're no longer bullies to Nigeria. We could stand them and we could see also even if physicality we're able to match them, but these results will go a long way for South Africa.
Yeah, it took that equalizing goal from Basi to get a point for Nigeria, but Daniel, a point coming was never going to be enough. It was do or die for victory for Nigeria today to really ignite hope of qualification. It has not happened.
So true. We are looking for the 3 points so that we can be able to, have opportunity for us to qualify. But unfortunately, it looks more like we're going to be like a cow trying to go through the eye of a needle. So it's going to be a tough one for us. But still,
I mean, let's explain what Daniel is talking about here. The most that Nigeria can make, with 2 games still to go, is 17 points. Bafana have a game against Zimbabwe, Rwanda, both of them taking place in South Africa. It's likely that points will come there for South Africa, which would take them beyond the 17 points already. It is very dark right now for Nigeria.
Yeah, it's really bleak for Nigeria at the moment, and I think one of those elements where you're still hoping that other countries or nations are going to do you a favor, I think it's slowly slipping away because if South Africa are on 17 points and other groups like your Morocco's, other groups are on 18, 19 if you're topping the group, so there's still a lot of work for them and you can't guarantee those points to say that Nigeria are actually going to pick up those 3 maximum points.
If you're starting to hand out good performance nominations today, Amanda, who were those outstanding players? Who fought today? Who really made sure that a star-studded Nigeria could only come away with a goal that was scored off the hand?
I think there's a few players. I think Ngota for me raised his hand, but as the game progressed, I thought Umbogazi was one of those players where the lapse of concentration and maybe a little bit of complacency, making sure critical blocks, the timing of the blocks in the box, because if you're playing against players like Lukman, very experienced, they know how to use their bodies. They know what tricks to employ in that 18-yard box. So for a 19-year-old, for me, to compete with that kind of experience, I think definitely showed that he's on a different level.
There he is, and we're looking at Mbogazi's impact. You needed people who are going to come out here and battle. And Daniel, that number 14 jersey today with 19 years of life in him, not football experience. Wow.
I agree with her because so far I'm so surprised that he has come up to the tempo like this. He's shown so much stability in the league and in the national team, and hence Ugo Bruce trusts him enough to be able to put him there to do the dirty job for him. He has proven himself once again, and I think he deserves man of the match today.
Again, take a look here at how massive that tackle is, Teko, from Begazile Mbogazi. I
think he's at a stage of his career he's just enjoying playing football. And when you do enjoy football at a young age like this, you don't think. You play football and you can see exactly what he does. Even in the shot that he took from the centre line, you could see he had a glance of a goalkeeper. He just enjoys himself. And these are rare cases that we see a young player from a top team like Orlando Pirates be able to still, continue with the same performance that he has in the club level to come to the national team. And for me to see him, competing against big guys like this, well, we knew that at some point Bafana had to suffer, and he was there when suffering was needed.
It's so rare to see a player who seems to enjoy and get better and better the more physical the game is. He is somebody who, when you put your foot in, you get stuck in, he wants more of that.
I was thinking about it as I was doing my preps. I thought to myself, it shouldn't be such an obvious thing that he leads with. And I think today was one of those elements, like you rightfully say, the maturity of learning when to use your strength and when to play the ball and when to make a run and when to make a pass. And he was at the preseason with the Orlando Pirates. We saw some of the clips, him making those runs. So clearly it's starting at club level to encourage him to choose the moments to go forward. Now if it's translating to the national team, at that age, I think you're under 25, 23s. So many players in the younger divisions who are playing now for the national team. So it's a long-term plan that we see, a succession plan. And maybe if it is that South Africa eventually get to qualify, we are starting to build now for the next couple of World Cups and even for AFCON.
Well, remember, you can be in communication with us right here on your World of Champions. Hashtag SS Football is where you can do that. Zenande as well as Brighton are ready to hear your comments. If you're in Nigeria, how are you feeling about what has taken place in Bloemfontein today? What are the reasons for it, and are there any solutions for that? And how are you feeling as a South African to see the point coming Bafana's way and securing a position at the top of that log? Even with that 3 points hanging in the air, it really is now in Hugo Bruce's side's hands to qualify for the World Cup. Let's take a look at how it took place. The goals in the encounter. It was in the first half that Bafana took the lead. Nkota is released. He puts in a cross that has the captain, Ekong, worried about what's happening behind him. He could probably feel Frosler's back there and decides to stick out a foot.
Yeah, I think we spoke about, Nkota's pace, the importance of him being on the team. And he was causing problems in the beginning of the game. Of course, with Ekong as well being in the wrong position at the wrong time as well. He was caught there, unable to clear that ball. But of course, you just sense that there is danger behind him. So therefore, they're trying to block the ball that results into an own goal.
Daniel, Ekong scores the own goal here. He's also taken off at half-time. Was the own goal part of that conversation as to why you take him off, or were there more tactical reasons to take the skip off?
Well, I actually talk about his speed, from the beginning, because I was expecting Bruno to be on the other side, while Bassi continued with the pair that he started with in Rwanda, but he decided to make a change, which I think it's best to his own decision. But then again, it's just one of those tactical plays that you think now you need to solidify the defense and you need more pace at the back there, because the South Africans are coming from everywhere with the pace. So you need someone who actually can cover those space for you at the back.
Do you think lack of pace is what makes him stick out a foot and score an own goal?
It was late. And it was late, and the wrong decision of the foot that he used in playing out the ball. So unfortunately, it's one of those things in the game that happens.
Right, so that's how that happened, and Bafana were in the lead. It was a lead, Amanda, that you did think you would want Bafana to hang on until halftime. They didn't, though.
Yeah, they didn't. And I mean, the critical phase of the game, and you know that the pressure is coming. It's either you set up your stall very differently, and I thought a little bit passive as the build-up to this goal. You see that this is not maybe the South Africa we know that usually want to press, get closer to the ball carrier, don't allow that kind of pass. And most times, Mukwena and maybe an Obas were very close to one another in terms of just maybe delegating who goes where. But for me, it's the ball watching and Obasi obviously just out jumping the likes of Ngezan and Dunyam.
So let's take another look at it here as the ball goes out wide, and Bushiri, he puts in that cross. There are a lot of things here, Teko, that are going on. I mean, if you keep an eye, Dessers gets in the way of our goalkeeper, making sure that he really can't get a real sight of that one. Then is just not enough done by Mdunia.
Yeah, but also maybe from Ronwen as well, because when the ball went wide to the right hand side, he shifted to the near post. And when the ball is hanging that long in the air, you could see it's trying to shuffle across as well. So it made it very difficult for him to get into the ball. And because now Basic came in with so much aggression, it's very, very difficult to able to stop him. And that's why then it resulted into the goal.
Now, we do have a very strong refereeing department. Let's just make sure that when we look at how this took place, it does come off the arm. We're confirming that. It does come off the arm for Bassi when it comes to scoring that goal. And a lot of you are interested into what does that mean. So here's the rule. Our referees department here at the World of Champions and across the continent giving us the rule. It is an offense if a player scores in the opponent's goal directly from their hand or arm, even if it's accidental, including by the goalkeeper, immediately after the ball has been touched, their hand, arm, even if it is accidental. So the bottom line is, that goal should not have stood. Daniel, are you comfortable with that?
Well, unfortunately, the referee is standing there. The referee can't get the view of the action, so it's a bit, far away from the action. So it's difficult for him to be able to pick this exactly action, whether he hit the hand or not, and not even the lifespan can see it from that far. And unfortunately, again, there's no VAR for you to go back to the TV and try to check what happened. So Nigeria benefit from it. We hope these help us, to get the other point that we need.
I know you would have as been at the front of writing a letter to FIFA to say, listen, this goal, we'd like you to please not count it because we can see it should not have stood. I know you would have done that.
If we could have extra hand on the goal to bring another ball into the net, I wouldn't mind we having that. Nigeria not being in the World Cup, do you know what that is? It's a big blow, man.
And
But congratulations to South Africa, anyway.
And it's very likely now that may be the case. Because if you look at even the 4 best second places right now and the number of points that they are on already, it really does make it very difficult for Nigeria to qualify for this World Cup. And if it doesn't happen, Daniel, that would be 2 World Cups now in a row that it hasn't happened.
It's sad. It's sad. I think probably this is going to teach us a lesson that we need to prepare early, because we don't need to depend on we being a giant of Africa. That used to be the case. But now, no team is underdog. Everybody is stepping up to the game. And it's just unfortunate that we have to find ourselves in this situation.
I didn't get to ask you this. How are you feeling?
I feel sad, to be honest. I feel sad. Because like I said, there are other young players who is in the team who actually want to be in the World Cup. But you see, we caused our own misfortune. And where the team is today is as a result of other factors, like I said earlier.
Well, it's 5 draws, right? I mean, 5 draws cannot help you get to the World Cup.
Sure. So that's why it's become difficult. Because if you don't win your own games, you go away, you try to get a point, you can't get a point, and then it becomes more difficult for you. So 5 points from the beginning, it was tough for us. And just imagine the game with Rwanda when we tried to get out of that game with a goal, which gives us 3 points and still give us a lifeline for this game. But unfortunately, we couldn't get, the desirable result that we were looking up to for this evening. But congratulations to South Africa for this.
For Bafana still unbeaten at home in the World Cup qualifiers. Hugo Bruce's side just refusing at home, and today was actually the first time that in the qualifiers anyone had even got something in terms of a point from Bafana in a home encounter. Let's now find out who that man of the match is, and I'm sure you can guess because Amanda was talking about him in great length a little bit earlier on. Here he is.
Mbokazi, first of all, congratulations, a wonderful match that you had here today. It must have been tough, but when ufika kanjani namhlanje ngendlela udlale ngayo?
Ngendlela engidlale ngayo ngizizwa ngijabulile ngoba ukudlala nabantu abakhulile yonke into ibe lula, abane experience labathi ngidlala nabo ngiqala ngidlala igame ethafa nje kodwa ngendlela abakhulume ngayo nami ngifikele nawe ukuzithemba.
Kodwa uyitshengisile experience namhlanje, even if wena ubona ngathi umncane. Bowukhulile efieldini, especially when it came to the opportunity you had with that long range effort.
Yabona namhlanje nami ngithe ngena ngathi hayi bafethu ngamane ngithole ligadi mina nginowinika lokho ukuthi hayi angiyofa egroundini ayikho into engizoyenza bangifake ngoba bengithemba mangingayithembi mina ayikho into ezonzenza ngcono ngithembe ukuze ngiyola ngifuna into engiyifunayo.
And into emnandi ukuthi Bloemfontein kugcwele abantu bazile ukuthi banibone ukuthi nizoyithola le ticket yase World Cup. Knowing that you were part of the team and the squad that finally got Bafana that much needed, perhaps, ticket to the World Cup. How does it feel for you, Bukas?
Ngizizwa ngijabulile nami ngihambiselana nabo balandeli ukuthi namhlanje asijabuleni sonke ngoba i-surprise le nami ngiqala nginamagame ayithula ethimini ase-3 naleya namhlanje ukuthi sengathiwa sengifaka i-team mhlawumbe ku-World Cup nami bakhona engqondweni ngijabule kakhulu nami ngijabule nabo amafeni sibonga kakhulu ne-support abasinike yona uma bekhona nathi yonke into ibalula basapota ngisho ngi-wrong bakhona ukuthi beseseke ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Sibonga wena.
Siyabonga.
On the 18th occasion that Nigeria and South Africa meet, it's Megazile Mugazi who is the man of the match. And in those 18 games, interestingly, 8 have been draws, Deko. It's one of those rivalries that's very, very tough to separate the two teams. And again today, nothing to separate them.
Yeah, and it's surprising today because you look at the magnitude of the game. It was a must-win for Nigeria coming into this game. For South Africa, we knew that even if a draw is still fine because you still have more points to play for, knowing that also we're in top of the log. So it was one of those fixtures that you were expecting a victory from it. But in the second half as well, I think it was a game or two. The second half just told a different story. So you look at Nigeria, the minute that they scored the game, they came with the momentum in the second half. And we spoke about then when South Africa had to be in the position to be able to fight for the results, to defend a little bit better. That's why then the Mugazi became a superstar in the second half because then those requirements were there. But you can just see from a team full of youngsters from a South African point of view is that they want to play for the national team. They want to qualify. They want to go to the World Cup. And also the winning mentality that has been there in the national team that Hugo Bruce has brought in. It's so refreshing to see. And I think also with this point, I think it's befitting because we've been bullied by Nigeria for so long.
All right, so let's get to the social corner. And in order to get to the social corner, I need to start practicing a few things a little bit with Brighton and Zenande. Guys, what's up? You know, how's it hanging? You know, what's going on? I'm practicing my American accent. You know, it's looking positive, guys.
Listen, Thomas. I was so stressed towards the end of that game. Like, Umagazi is deserving of that man of the match because the same time like next at the end of that match. But the social media streets were very stressed as well. Usiza says, I am just happy Bafana is no longer the laughing stock of the country. I don't know about you, Brighton. What's I love?
Hey, right now when I just be busy with the social media, I'm busy booking my flight, accommodation, plus I just got my new phone, curtains of order. So but before actually I continue my booking, right? I need to check on someone very special. I mean, Thomas is already handling Daniel at bay, so I'm nice. So I'm just gonna check on my friend Chewy then be like, hey, yo, Chewy, what's happening, brother? I'm so relaxed, I'm cruising, right?
I'm feeling sorry for Chewy right now. All that calculations.
Calculate.
Batumba Dimo. The name is Mandla, not Chewy. You must change the name bar over there. I'm just doing my job, right? The earlier analysis was a script. Right now, as it stands, Nigeria with 11 points go up to second place. Superior goal difference, by the way. Key takeaways from this game. Nigeria, you need prayers. Lesotho, name your price. What houses, cars, land, Nigeria's mineral rich. I think a conversation can be had. The social streets are not happy today. Yes, there's a complaint about the VAR, but a lot of people were not really impressed with the Nigerian team. Tea time didn't quite happen. Was really looking forward to that. Niger did not get the goals. Wabali was a lot calmer. The midfield could have way been better, but fingers crossed at this point in time, Nigeria. Hopefully we South Africans will see you in USA.
No. You're not seeing us anywhere unless you're watching us from screen. How the mighty have fallen. Listen. How we've just changed and started relaxing about things. Now, Thomas was talking about changing the accent, right? I'm saying we need to start singing our song. Siaya.
We're putting our pride.
We're gone, Thomas. I don't know, can you please check it past that, Daniel? Is it okay? Daniel?
It's not easy here. It's not easy. Daniel is doing his absolute best to remain calm, cool, and collected. I saw a tweet that came on there on hashtag SS Football that says, the worst Nigerian team ever paraded. I mean, that is a massive statement to come from that viewer.
I don't think so. I think it's just been emotional. That's an emotional tweet. Because the team so far have done well. The lads have been trying to see how the team qualify have done well. I'm not trying to make an excuse for them.
One win, Daniel. One win in 8 games. I think somebody and a lot of Nigerians would look at you and say, but what are you saying?
I must tell you that there's a lot of pressure on the team. I've been in the team. I know what's happening around the team. So there's a lot of pressure around these players sometimes. And, you know, they can't really show it out there, but they just have to cope with the situation. And unfortunately, this is not yielding us any result. And who really cares? You know, who really cares, you know, among the people that are supposed to care about these things. So I don't think it's the worst Nigerian team ever. It's just unfortunate that this lad, they found themselves being caught up in such a situation.
Guys, there's a lot of joy in the social corner. Amanda, is a joy that you are also echoing, that you are starting to feel? Is the belief now in you that this Hugo Bruce side, this Bafana side, with an average age, I think we're working it out the other day, somewhere around 24 years of age, is the side that can do what a South African team has not done since 2002, which is qualify for a FIFA World Cup?
Yeah, I strongly believe so. I'm much more relieved more than anything because South Africa has found themselves in these kinds of situations where everything is in control, but you just almost kind of lose it where it slips from the hands. But how amazing it would be for a squad of average 24, because then it means that South Africa is certainly doing something really good. Daniel spoke about the PSL. There's the DTC as well, where the likes of Mbokazi are coming from, the likes of Borele. And with just an introduction of about 3 seasons for a player like Kurele and Gota, they're already finding themselves, on a brink of going to a World Cup. It would be a first for them. They probably haven't even been to a World Cup for under 23s, and this is the first senior sort of big tournament for them. So I do feel that South Africa, the league, all the structures and programs that are involved in making sure that there's a plan that happens. If you're planning around 3 years, sign the coach for 3, implement it for 3 years. If not, after 3 years, then you can start changing.
And then there might also be need for South Africans to write a letter to say sorry, coach.
Yeah,
Sorry, coach.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, because when he first came through, he tried to have a different team to play, a lot of youngsters, and then again we resorted to finding a solid team, and you can only do that by bringing on the changes and bringing on the youngsters when the team is winning. And slowly and surely he started doing that, and like I said, I think bringing the pride back and also maybe having that winning mentality that players are excited to go back and play for Bafana, because in the previous years, players didn't really feel like playing for the national team. Now you can see that even all the younger ones, they're raising their hand, they want to play for the national team, and it becomes such an important thing because now you have reference. And AFCON we did well. Now we're on the brink of going to the World Cup. So those are important moments for a footballer. And for a coach, Hugo Bruce to be given such an opportunity to also, making those changes gradually and winning the fans over. You can see the support that he got also in Bloemfontein and also in the street, and how then people have so much pride watching Bafana play.
Well, let's hear from the man, Coach Hugo Bruce, and how he's feeling about this one. I mean, if you look at the last 5 games, it's 4 wins and this massive draw against Nigeria today in the last 5 World Cup qualifiers. Bafana sitting top of the group, 17 points, well clear of the chasing pack, and now just waiting to find out what will happen in the next encounter, as Benin will be trying to keep the group alive in the match that kicks off at 9 o'clock. Coach Hugo, what's your view?
Coach, you spoke about how tough this encounter was going to be, and I think the result shows exactly that. How do you think Bafana played here tonight against Nigeria?
It was maybe not a football match, it was a fight. During 90 minutes, I think the first half hour, we played very good football. And then, you know that against this opponent, they have so much power in the team. And then they started to use the power. But what I said also, my team has also power, and you saw the second half how they fight for every ball, for every meter. They wanted a draw, and they tried to win, but I think today it was not possible. It was too much fighting.
Speaking of the fight that we saw here today, it's beautiful to see the likes of Mbokazi get the man of the match, which shows that whether you're young or old, the fighting spirit was teamwork today.
Yeah, and this guy is only 19 years old. So when you see the way he plays, he's very strong, he's good on the ball. I think he deserved to be the man of the match. But we can't forget the other players and also the guys who came in. So immediately they wanted also to fight with all the rest and then keep that point here in South Africa. And we succeeded and we achieved it. Now we need one more victory, and we go to America. So let's hope we can do it as soon as possible.
Most importantly, the element of the 12th man midweek game, they came out in their numbers to really show the support for the national team.
Yeah, but we needed them in the game like today. We need the crowd. When you don't have a crowd, you can't survive. But we survived today, and again, the way we played against Nigeria was the right way. Not so good football, but the fighting spirit was there, and I'm very proud of my team.
We're very proud of you, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, the campaign began for the World back in November 2023. These are the nations that have so far booked their place. It's the biggest World Cup in the history of World Cups. 48 nations will be qualifying for this World Cup, and already we're seeing with that extension a couple of first-timers making their way. Jordan, the little nation of Jordan, first time ever at the World Cup. Uzbekistan, the very first time they will be playing at a FIFA World Cup. And for CAF, we've seen now already that we've got Morocco and Tunisia confirmed there in very, 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 very light print. South Africa is rich, but you just can't see it yet. Light. And it needs a very HD TV, which we might not have at this stage. It's looking that good under there as far as that is concerned. So those are the qualifiers so far. How can Nigeria have possible hope? Well, we can maybe unpack that very quickly. The path is clear. Coach Hugo Bruce speaking about it. One more win, South Africa would be at the World Cup. There is a situation where the 4 best second-place teams on the African continent, Daniel, would then still go into a playoff and then 2 semis, a final. The winner there then would go into the intercontinental playoff, have to win there, then go through to the World Cup. That is the back door in. That's the door right now that's looking the most likely for Nigeria. Difficult door, but it still exists. But again, it's a tiny, tiny hope because there are a lot of nations already on 18 points, 16 points, and they're second-place teams.
Well, we're sitting on a tiny thread right now, as a nation, and I just hope that back door really open for us because sometimes we try to press the calculators to see where, the other team's going to drop points so that we can qualify and all of that, or to get into this group of 4 and to see how we can play to survive and all of that. If it was an opportunity to create yourself for us, well, we'll be grateful because honestly, I would want most of this lad to be in the World Cup.
Thank you very much. Daniel Akpay. Earlier on, his voice had a lot of power. The power is going down a little bit, but we'll try and get it back for you in the break and get the final comments, hear more from the social corner. We continue on a big night in South African and African football. South Africa, law and order is something that may have been re-established in the rivalry today as a big blow to Nigeria's hopes of qualifying for the World Cup was struck by Bafana. These are the matches that have taken place. Kenya's 5-0 against Seychelles. You might think that, well, what does that mean for Kenya? Benny McCarthy in charge there? It doesn't mean too much at all. Kenya are now 10 points behind the top team in the group, who are Cote d'Ivoire, and for Seychelles, they haven't managed to get a single point in their group so far. The focus, though, tonight, and it is on your World of Champions, Benin, Lesotho. For South Africans, they will be supporting Lesotho there because as it stands right now, Benin are at 11 points, 6 points behind Bafana. If Lesotho were to hold them there, well, that would make things very, very difficult for Benin in terms of qualification or overtaking Bafana, even with those 3 points lurking in the air. So, guys, let's have some very quick conversations here about what it is that was achieved and maybe some of the reasons why it's been achieved, Amanda. Why is it, and how has Hugo Bruce and this young squad been able to be this successful?
Well, I think from the time he arrived, that is Coach Hugo Bruce, he was very adamant and very assertive in the way that he likes to work. And I think, like you said, we probably owe him an apology because we were very resistant of the fact that he's coming with something new. But of course, I think the mere fact that this association bought him some time to actually implement what he wanted to do, very difficult to strip the team apart in terms of age and really try and plan ahead. For me, I think it's the succession plan, the winning mentality, like Uteko says. Rongan Williams in one of the interviews said, there's that brotherhood, an element of brotherhood. It starts maybe from Sundowns, that culture that they are together. Because like I said, South Africa works with combinations.
In this encounter tonight against Nigeria, did the new come to the party?
I wouldn't say new because I guess...
you guys been trying.
Yeah, they did because those are the players I think for South Africa were the key players like Apollos, Ngota, Mbogazi coming in. Those are younger players who have just come into the Bafana
debut today.
Absolutely, and the thing is that's what Coach Hugo Bruce is about, giving youngsters an opportunity, and if it is that you can fit, he can certainly throw you in the deep end. And
that was massive. I mean, when we looked at the starting lineup, Modiba doesn't play. We've got a young man playing in that position today. How did he do?
I think it did wonders for a big game against Nigeria and a game of importance like that. But also spoke about then his role into the team because he's more defensive minded than Modiba. But also as a young player, you train so hard, you play so hard in your club level, you wish to have that call up, and when it comes through, you also wish to play. And you can't choose what type of game you want to play. And being thrown in against Nigeria, you have to step up, and that's exactly what he did. And by doing so, then you're creating more competition, and that's what Coach Hugo Bruce wants, to have more players in depth so that you can actually use. So that before in the past, when Tembazwan was in the national team, we're like in Tembazwan. Now we're slowly moving away from relying on one man. Now we're relying on certain players that are coming through. And fortunate for Coach Hugo Bruce, those are young players that are actually coming through to actually help the national team. And I also think that the important thing as well, what he learned as well, was to have a relationship with the teams in South Africa, because that's one thing that he didn't have in the beginning. Now that he's able to have those type of conversation, and to also find the progress within the young players as well. Are they ready to come into the national team? And those conversations actually help them to help him to actually propel the national team.
And Daniel Manning Ngezana, I mean, we're talking about Kabini there in that right back position today. 21 years of age, plays his football in Norway. Brought in by Hugo Bruce, plays the entire match, has a really, really solid performance in that position. Ngezana is a man you would have, I'm sure, encountered in your playing times in the league. And Daniel, you know, he got a yellow card reasonably early on in the game, and then just stuck to the task.
Well, I think the yellow card is unreasonable because he won the ball already, but still he wants to have a body contact with the player. And
him and Lukman, there was an elbow, there was a shoulder, there was a lot.
Yeah, that was what cost him the yellow card. But it's a good thing that he has stepped up his game. He came back strong and he was able to do what the coach required of him. And he ended the game very well, which is good. There's good stops he made in a couple of times in the game, which actually complement what the young man, the 19-year-old boy, was doing at the back there. So I think both of them actually complement each other right there.
Well, this is the early stages, and where that yellow card does come, him and the African Footballer of the Year have a little bit of an encounter. The yellow card is handed out afterwards, and the referee says, I saw that. And he gives them a yellow on both sides there to the two of them. At that stage, I know a lot of South Africans might have thought to themselves, he now needs to survive, another 60, 70 minutes of the encounter on that yellow card against Nigeria's power and strength and attack. It was going to be difficult.
It was, and a player that has the characteristics of, combat in his game. It's very surprising to see then how then he progressed and be able to finish the game. But also certain players as well that they love playing on the edge. And I guess maybe this was one of those games, or maybe to teach him that he can actually play on the edge. But then to accumulate those unnecessary yellow cards, I think that's something that he needs to learn to let go, because he's not available in the next Bafana game.
What about the players of Anu Shugena, the chef, the master chef today? Gets the chance to start.
Yeah.
How was his performance?
I think he had a solid performance as well. At certain stages, I thought maybe he came into the game and he disappeared as well. But he hasn't been in the national team for long, and he hasn't started really, even at Orlando Pirates as well. But those are the type of games that actually will remind him, a student, how good he is, because he is a player that we need, especially that number 10 position with his creativity. And what a fight that actually all the boys had. And he also, I saw him defending as well. So there's a type of game that will actually remind him. And we always say that if only he can understand how talented he is. We just want him to get to this potential that he's always been bubbling under for so many years. And these are the right opportunities for him, because if Bafana qualifies, he will work to get to the national team to go to the World Cup. And that's important for any footballer to play in one of the biggest stages in the world.
And a chance to showcase that is now looming for Sipho Mbule, to showcase it on the world stage at a FIFA World Cup if he just keeps playing the kind of football that he is playing. Social Corner is Zenande as well as Brighton. And you guys have been giving us the vibe all night long. What's the vibe on the streets of South Africa? And I'm also interested in Lagos as well as Abuja and across Nigeria and Port Harcourt and many other places. How are they?
Listen, Thomas, I think a lot of people are just complaining about the form that Nigeria is in at the moment. You know what I think, honestly? I think they met their match. Umbagazi. TLB for real. Listen, anyway, Usta on X had said, congratulations to our national team, Bafana, Basebenzile, Bafana, and we can't wait to see Mbogazi stopping Ronaldo next year. Oh, that will be a scene. That will be a scene.
I think Victor Osimhen saw it coming, that the TLB is coming.
Yeah,
what no, man, I think it's slides again. So Thomas, while TLB is Faraguma ice bath and getting ready for a big final ahead, just like the Master Chef, what we're gonna do, Tina City. Thank you. Good night. Dango Tommy.
Sweet dreams, Social Corner, sweet dreams. Dream of North America and practice the accents in your dreams. You might need it. However, for those of you across the continent and especially Nigeria wondering, we keep talking about the TLB. That's the nickname that Mogazi has in South Africa. And a TLB is a tractor. You know those tractors that have, Daniel, the scoop in the front and the scoop at the back that, is used in construction work. That is what a TLB is, and that's why we keep saying it. He lifts at the front, he lifts at the back. does the job, Daniel. That's that nickname. I just wanted to explain it.
Thank you for your explanation. And it's good to be excited because when you least expect where you are, so when you get there, you have to be excited. So thank you for the explanation.
No, I just thought because people are hearing the whole night TLB. We have to explain, Guti, what the TLB is. However, there's plenty of football still coming your way, and here it is on your World of Champions, the matches and the leagues that are coming back.